I'm going to ask everybody to do me a big favour, to share this video everywhere. I'm just going to put it very straight to the county councils, like Galway and Limerick and all them county councils, even Cavan. There's so many abandoned houses that were built during the good times, as I would call them, during the economic growth, which was people could afford 6 or 7 houses because and then the banks collapsed and then the houses were abandoned because they couldn't afford to pay it, and the banks owned them. AIB, Bank of Ireland, the rest of them own it. I know for myself because I used to live beside a house for 7 years that was taken away by the banks own it. In other words, they went bankrupt when the banks collapsed and the country had to pay off the banks' debts. And they lost the house. And the house is down and abandoned for 7 years, and there's people dying up in our streets of our capital. Do you know what I say to the county, Dublin City Council and all that? Move them down to the counties. There's places outside Dublin. Like there's houses abandoned in Dublin that's been abandoned for centuries. Nearly, and you do them up and take 2 months at least to do them up. Instead of building 10,000 new houses, why will you not put them into the houses that are already built, that only need a tiny bit of work? The house that I'm talking about especially, it has loads of weeds around it, has briars growing out of the windows. Just do it up. That's all. You do them up instead of getting materials to build a new house, getting land and building houses on it. There's loads and loads of abandoned houses across this country. In Cavan Town, where the town I'm closest to, this house is beside Tractor Motors. If you don't know what Tractor Motors is, a garage in Cavan. And I ask people to look it up in Street View and just look across the road. There's about 7 or 8 abandoned houses there. That's been abandoned since I was a child, and that's 15 years ago, 16, 17 years ago at the most. 17 years, and you've given out. And I hate the way, I even said to the Cavan County Council, I was in with the council about this certain house. I was in with them. And do you know what they said to me? And it was a stupid answer they gave me. The bank's owner, we can't do anything about it. And do you know what I said back to them? I even cursed at them. I said, for God's sake, you're letting children, men, women and children die on our streets. And there's house there that you can do up in a month. But yous are too lazy to do it. And I just walked out. And I had enough. I literally said what I had to say. And that's what I said to them. I said it to them. Because I was fed up. Like, that's the reason why we couldn't win Tidy Town this year. Because there was 2 abandoned houses. But this one here, it's right in the middle of the village. And it's absolutely driving me to Monaghan. And I would love to see a family come down from the city. A mother and child, maybe a father and child, who are lying homeless or in shelters. I love to see them. I would welcome them in with open arms. And anything that they need, the community would give it to them. And that's what I'm asking the councils to do, and the government, and the ministers in the government, and the TDs or whoever, and even landlords who have abandoned houses. Have a heart. Have a soul. Say to your local council, I'm willing to take some homeless person from Dublin, or from Galway, or from Cork, into my apartment, into my rented house. Or on my property. The only thing I say to the county councils is, do up the houses that have been lying there since the banks collapsed. It'd take a month at least to do up one house. Clean it, put a bit of paint on it. I'm not asking for a neutral on. Like, it's not... Get them out of the streets. Like in Finland, I'm going to talk about Finland for a second. Their policy is house enforced. You give them a house first before you give them anything else. Like, they're trying to do loads of paperwork up in Dublin, saying who are you, where you come from, this, that and the other. Forget about paperwork, get them into a house. It's going to probably be a cold winter this year. And this is a big problem. Because loads of people will freeze to death. Children, men, women and children freeze to death on our streets. And the only thing I said to the county councils, there's houses in the country, in Cavan, Monaghan, Westmeath, Offaly, Roscommon and Sligo, outside the big cities of Dublin, Cork and Galway. There's places outside there who are houses that were abandoned for 12, maybe 7 years, even 2 years. Just the council should just buy the houses instead of paying 2 million for nearly one house. Just buy the houses. That's what the council needs to do. Just buy them. They're already lying there. Why would you not use them? It's common sense. It's common sense just to use a house that's already built. I know myself. If there was a house down the road, and the bank's on, and I said to the bank, "Here, I'm going to buy it off you," and it was I could save a bit of cash on it. If I could save 6 or 7,000 euro on it, I would go and buy that house instead of getting planning permission to build a house there in some field, and then having to get the material, getting building contractors and all that, and getting windows and everything. It's common sense. The windows are probably all right in the houses, but you have to do a bit of work, get a bit of paint, clean up a tiny bit, maybe see if the toilet's working on it. It's common sense. It's seriously common sense, and the councils should take on this, because there is so many abandoned houses. I can't tell you, not really in Dublin. I've seen a few in Dublin, but they're probably taken up last time I was there. But I'm talking about the counties. There is, as Joan Freeman said, the one that's wonderful, who's not wonderful person now, but there is places outside Ireland, but Dublin. There's places in different parts of the country who have where there's even estates abandoned houses. And I'm just asking the county council to have a bit of a brain and get people down from the city into the country and to put them into houses there. And that will solve the issue. Thank you for watching. Make sure you share the video so the county councils will listen, because they don't seem to know themselves, because they seem to be too busy worrying about their checks. Anyway, thank you for watching. Subscribe and more. Bye.